Hey, 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 put your hands up. Put your hands up. It's gridiron time. Yeah, yeah, you know what that means. Yeah, yeah, it's gridiron time. Woo, woo. Oh, yeah. I don't know what I was doing with that intro, but What's up, everyone? It's your boy, Matt Diazable, coming at you with a new music review. Thanks for coming on by. Thanks for discovering me. I hope you enjoy what you're seeing here. Like, subscribe, and comment like always. You know what YouTubers do, all that stuff, trying to make money. Yeah, today I am checking out the latest review. Well, if you don't know, I review music. I talk about music, so that's what I do. And today I'm checking out this new Gridiron album called Poetry from Pain. If you've never heard about Gridiron, they are a hardcore hip hop and a little bit of a metal band that started back during the COVID pandemic when a bunch of friends were, just bored playing Call of Duty together and wanted to have a creative outlet. And so they decided, hey, let's make some music while we're away and just piece something together. And that's how Gridiron got its start and has just steamrolled into the hardcore scene. And if you're not familiar with Gridiron and, if you're not American, Gridiron, I'm assuming they're taking it from what they would call the football field in American football. It would be called the gridiron because it's really tough and hard to survive in that game. And I'm pretty sure a lot of the members, especially the vocalist, he's a big football fan. So it makes sense that they would be called Gridiron. It tracks with the band and everything. And I have recently discovered this band when I started going to fests in like Tie Down Fest, LDB Fest. They played a couple times. I didn't really know about them. Saw them live a couple times. Put on a very interesting show. A lot of people really liked them. It's like I can't tell if like the hip hop elements are humorous or not, but they incorporate them pretty well in their live show, and everyone seems to go bananas for them. So they seem to know what they're doing. So I was really excited to finally sit down and listen to one of their releases. But surprisingly, I've already heard some of their songs because when I was looking into their Spotify and stuff, I had already a couple songs on my playlist. So I already liked the band already. So now to sit down and fully check out the band, let's see what I think. It seems like Pain from Poetry is doing exactly what you would expect from Gridiron. They're doing what they do best, and that is have heavy grooves, mean riffs, and that signature fusion of, hardcore and hip hop that really, gives their identity here. They have a mad swagger to it here. The record opens up very strong and stays like that for a while with really punchy rhythms and really tight production. But I will say the tail end of the album kind of loses some of its creative spark, but the album as a whole still hits harder than a lot of bands putting out music right now. So it's a bit of a balancing act here. And I like the opening song 26/9 because it does a really good job of setting the tone for the band and the album because it's got some really good tight drumming and really thick bass lines. And riffs that switch between, that hardcore bounce that hardcore has at times and some really like death metal crunch. Then you have their signature style of spoken like word vocals that really cut through the mix. They're layered in very nicely. And I would say there's a little bit more attitude than actually melody. Like I don't think he's actually singing, but his attitude, his swagger, it just fits the band's sound perfectly. Then you have the song Mascot that takes that energy and adds more swagger to it with playful drums, groovy chugs, and even a little bit of hint of DJ scratches to give it that whole like gritty party-like energy. It feels like, what new metal could be if you stripped away all the corniness and the irony and rebuilt it to just have pure hard-hitting impact to it. And so by the time we get to the songs Army of None and Best Served Cold, the band sounds so locked in. The riffs, very dense, very creative. The drums, they are smooth and just riding the cymbals really nicely. And each breakdown just has a real groove to it. And it just sounds really good. And I would say one of the standout songs on this album is Tombstone because it's built around a very bass-driven, bouncy, like feel to it that is impossible not to groove to. Like when you hear that bass line kick in, you're just like, whoa, whoa, like you just want to dance, you want to mosh, you want to do everything. Then the gang vocals and then the tight snare drum and just the overall style and production of the song make it probably one of the best tracks on this album. But I will say on this record, there is one kind of big stumble here, and it's right in the middle of the album, and it's the song Still Playing for Keeps. the Big Umbrella remix. Guest features on this song really throw off the whole pacing and the overall connection of Gridiron on this album. It feels completely disconnected from the flow of the album. It's not a bad experiment, it just stops the flow of the record like cold in its tracks. Luckily, the song Copycat League really snapped things back into a very groovy feel with some very slick two-step patterns and sharp wordplay. And so after that experimental song, this song really shows that, you know, Gridiron really thrives in like simple kind of things. Don't overthink it, just keep it simple. And this is where you can see them executing things just right and just being themselves. As you can say, they were cooking on this one. But from this point on, it feels like the album kind of just, you know, settles into a more familiar zone of playing music. Poetry from Pain and Roses both bring, you know, really nice groove and some guest spots that really add some color to the overall sound of the record. But, you know, they don't really elevate the songs or the material. They do okay, the guest vocalists, but everything just is okay at best. Talk Real and Pay Dirt are very, you know, in the wheelhouse of Gridiron in terms of tough, no nonsense, built for movement style of hardcore. So by the time you get to the final track, Heavy Metal Money, it feels like, you know, the steam has kind of ran out in the band. And so it feels like the energy has really cooled off. And so the back end of the album, not the strongest, a little bit too in the safety comfort zone, while the first half of the album is just striking while the iron is hot and just has so much groove and style and flair to it. And I would say Poetry from Pain is not really reinventing things here, because Gridiron is a very unique band in terms of mixing hardcore, death metal, and, you know, hip hop into one thing. So it doesn't really need to reinvent things. If anything, they're just giving people more of what they want, and that is more Gridiron, which in a world like this, we always need more Gridiron. When Gridiron locks in, they can deliver some precise songs, some songs with attitude, and overall songs that have a fun and just energetic vibe to it that doesn't feel stale. The first 2/3 of this album is just some of their best work they've put out, I would say. And then, you know, the last tail end of the album, they're not climbing any heights, but they're not like getting any lower. They just kind of cool off and just coast. Regardless, it's still showing that the band is very strong in knowing what they want to do and how they want to play without, you know, like I said, they're not trying to reinvent things. They're delivering what you want, and that is Gridiron songs with some hip hop, some hardcore, and some death metal, and some fun just all sprinkled in. And who could ask any more from that? Tough, groovy, and confident. And that is what you're getting with this latest Gridiron album, Poetry from Pain. The formula still works here, and, you know, the fire kind of cools off towards the end of the album, but it's still there in the early part of the album. So overall, it's a pretty decent album, and I would have to give this latest release from Gridiron a good, solid 7.5 out of 10. Links down below. Tell me what you think about this album, what other albums I should review, and until next time, guys, see you in the pit or in the Gridiron.
Been thinking good things about you. Cool and warm, good things about you.